Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Silver Lining Nation. And today I have a really special guest. I have an ex-sponsee of mine, and her name is Lisa. And I worked with Lisa for about 3.5 years before she had a relapse. And today, guys, she actually has 6 months. So I'm super proud of Lisa. Today, she's going to be on Silver Lining sharing how she struggled getting back into the 12-step room. Also, I want to follow Lisa progress as she goes through her sobriety so that you guys can see the improvement in the progress as she goes through working the steps and as she goes through living a sober life, y'all. Hope you guys enjoy Lisa's story, and I'm going to turn it over to Lisa, guys.
Thank you. Yes, Maureen was my amazing sponsor for about 3.5 years. I had a pretty stupid slip and gave up my 3.5 years. Really wasn't that bad in the beginning. Not alcoholism isn't fun. But I went through some tragedies, and 6 months ago, I was just sick and tired. And accidentally had run into Lorene twice within 6 months previous to this. And it was a sign. I knew God was telling me, not to mention everybody else included telling me to call my sponsor. Excuse me. And so I was sick and tired, and I called and I asked for some help. And Lorene sent the troops to come save me.
What's the truth?
all our people, all the great women in the rooms that now surround me with so much love. It was scary at first. I drank every day. I mean, I tried to maintain a job. I did drink the minute work was done. I drank all weekend. And, in the very beginning, it is one day at a time. And, and they say it's when you get to 1 week and you get to 2 weeks. And I feel like I was very lucky that God did remove the desire for me to drink, because God gave me the desire to live, and I wasn't living. And yeah, I have my 6 months, and it's the happiest. I mean, the promises, like they say, are amazing. Yeah. Everything's just great. I mean, it's work. I feel like this time it is a lot different.
Why do you think it's different from this time versus your previous?
I was talking to somebody yesterday. I don't know if it's because I'm a little bit older, not to speak funny about my age, a little bit more wiser, a little bit more important to me to stay sober. When I was sober the first time, I did it for my family. And I lost my family 4 years ago. And now I know my mom and dad are looking down on me, and I work every day for them to be proud of me. It is just a lot different. I just want all this knowledge, and I can't wait to, I've already been doing service work from the beginning. I love doing service work. I got the opportunity to be a foster parent to a cat, and just the rewards. I mean, so that's kind of where the 6 months have been.
Awesome. A lot of people, a lot of the viewers, I don't know whether they think that you have to lose something before you come into recovery. Lisa didn't lose a job. She didn't lose her house. She didn't lose things, so to speak. But what really made you decide that you're sick and tired of doing the same things and getting the same results? What really pushed you back into the 12-step room, Lisa?
I didn't lose anything. You're right. I struggled. But I lost myself. I was a shell. I was a horrible, sad, terrible, miserable person hiding from the world. I probably lost my dignity.
Yeah.
And my self-respect. I didn't like myself. And now, like I said, I'm finding myself again in a different manner, different circumstances. But the love I've received from the rooms and the people, and having healthy relationships, and having boundaries, and all the things I'm learning a little differently this time. Because like I said, it just feels weird to me. I am in therapy, and my therapist has been my therapist for 8 years.
Okay.
And she tells me every time, I'm so proud of you. I had my last session on my 6-month day when I had my 6 months. She was honored. And she just said, I seem so different this time, and I feel different.
What was your biggest struggle when you came back?
It was scary to ask for desired chip, but I also did ask for help. You know, my biggest struggle was how to learn how to live life on life's terms.
Okay.
I hadn't done that in 4 years.
So coming back into recovery, being a person that have already worked the 12 steps in the past, was that difficult to start all over again and rework them because you've already had the experience?
Like I said, everything's different to me this time. You have 2 different sponsors. So they do the program a little differently.
Yes.
Also, I think I'm not really trying to rush the steps.
Okay.
The holidays put a little slowness on it.
Are you saying that I rush you through the steps?
No, we had a very set program, and that was fine for me the first time. You know, it was my first time, and I think the first time for me, like, okay, I want to get these 12 steps done because everything's going to be done, and I'm going to be better,
be finished.
Yeah. And obviously, we know we don't graduate. There's no diploma. The graduation is living.
Yes.
And so, the steps to me this time, I'm really taking a different look at myself. You know, when I came back into the rooms, I was a mess. When
you say you're a mess, what does that mean?
I didn't care what I looked like.
Okay.
I had no self-confidence. I didn't care. I allowed a lot of toxic people in my life because I didn't care, and they didn't care either. They preferred drunk Lisa.
Yes.
Because I didn't stand up for myself, and I didn't. So, you know, I didn't have, like I said, self-respect. And so coming back into these rooms, like, I'm really learning to love myself. You know, every day I'm just like, I really have to pinch myself some days and say, you know, no days are perfect. They're way, way better than they were before.
Yes.
But, you know, sometimes I pinch myself to tell myself I'm living this great life. And it's so rewarding. And somebody posted yesterday about just not having a hangover every Monday.
Oh my goodness, yes.
and for me, it was just nonstop throwing up so I could drink some more. And so just the feelings of that is what's so cool this time, and so great and so rewarding. And I'm so blessed, you know, to have the love from the women. You know, they never really left my life.
Yes. Yeah, we stayed in contact even.
The women always show up for you.
Oh, yeah.
So that's different.
You mentioned that you have friends that don't understand the sober Lisa, that they rather the Lisa that was drinking. Explain to us what you mean by that. How do they treat you? What kind of relationship do you have with them, if you have any relationship at all?
There was 2 very toxic relationships.
Okay.
They didn't. One of them talked down to me because she just kept saying, "Quit drinking, quit drinking. Why do you drink all the time?" And then when I did get sober, it was like, "Oh, well, what makes you think you're going to do it this time? We've been through this 100 times." No, she's never been through it with me. She said, "What are you going to do when it's your mom's birthday? What are you going to do when it's your dad's birthday?" And you know what? I made it through every last one of those holidays.
Awesome.
And loaned her a lot of money with a big heart, and did foolish things that I thought were right. And no longer in my life.
These are people that are not alcoholics. Is that?
One's a functioning alcoholic.
Okay.
And thinks that's okay. That she doesn't have a problem. Even though every time she does drink, she pretty much got blacked out drunk.
Yeah. Well, we all have to get there on our own term. it's certain steps that we go through before we realize that this is no longer working for us. For instance, like you're saying, it takes time.
Yeah, it took time, and I knew I was sick. I was very sick, and I
Mhm.
was scared. I was more. I mean, I think they always make that joke about picking up the phone and how it weighs 1,000 pounds. And when I called Lorraine, like I don't think I'll ever forget that day. You know, because to say I need help,
Yeah.
it's a huge, scary step. No one wants to say they need help.
Yeah.
But you find when you ask for it, these people just show up.
Mhm.
And I'm just so grateful for that. But the people in my life didn't understand it was a disease. That's not a choice. We don't like getting blackout drunk every day or getting high. It's not a choice. It's an illness. And a lot of people don't understand that. Some people do, but it's not a choice. But it's a choice to work a program.
So what was your biggest fear? You said that you were really in fear when you picked the phone up to reach out for help. What was the biggest fear that you had?
Having to deal with life on life's terms. Having to grieve my parents sober.
Okay.
That's a huge thing for me. Next week will be 4 years. And but you know, working my program and figuring out my higher power and my God has told me my parents are looking down on me and they're proud of me. And that's what my sponsor told me. She said, Lisa, no matter what you did, your parents were always proud of you. And so that was my biggest fear, was dealing with life on life terms, you know. And I started to cry the other night, and I was like, I hadn't cried in 6 months. And but it was like a good cry. But yeah, just learning to live life with having to deal with real emotions and real issues, and
knowing that you can get through them regardless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think for me, it's the feeling part. I mentioned a lot on Silver Lining that I just didn't like feelings. I didn't want to feel anything. And that's what the alcohol provided for me.
Yeah.
You mentioned your higher power. This season it's about spiritual awakening and higher power. Share with us your experience on your spiritual awakening and higher power. What's your experience on that?
You know, first time I came into the program, my amazing first sponsor,
Thank you.
had to teach me about God and my version of God. I grew up in a home with no God in it. So this time, like I'm learning, like when things start happening, God's doing these things for me that I can't do for myself. The first time when I was sober, I told my dad, I said, Dad, it's not just me that's keeping me sober. It's something bigger than me. It's God. Because you learn, and where I'm at my program and my situation is my higher power is looking down on me, holding my hand, making me a godly woman. I've been through some things in the last month or so that normally not soberly so would have had different outcomes. And I just stopped and I breathed and took a breath and asked God for help. And it's just amazing. I'm working on it. You know, I am 6 months in, but I'm just finding all these blessings. They don't just come from me being sober.
Yes.
They don't. There's a lot more. And yeah, I thank God every day for where I'm at today. Once again, I said, I don't have the desire to drink. I can't. And for me, that's how my mom was. She got sober, never had another drink. I don't say I'm going to be sober for the rest of my life, but if I do have that drink, I won't have a life. And, you know, I go to the store and I see the wine. It doesn't faze me because I do want to live a great life. And so that's where I'm at on my spiritual journey.
Awesome. So in the program, when I came in, I thought a spiritual awakening would require me to, so to speak, have a burning bush experience. What's your experience with the spiritual awakening part of it? the burning bush part, so to speak?
For me, like I just kind of said, the burning bush experience for me is um, getting through every day
Mm-hmm.
without falling apart,
Mm-hmm.
with dealing with life.
Uh-huh.
You
In the
know,
past, you would have, especially getting closer to your mom's death anniversary, you wouldn't have been able to handle it with the grace that you're handling it now. Is that
very much
what you're
so.
saying?
Yes,
Awesome.
very much so.
Awesome.
You know, and it's not funny. I was thinking about last night, and that's why I got a little emotional because I would just be. I think I was pushing it down before,
Mm-hmm.
so now I am dealing with it, but I'm dealing with it gracefully.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dealing with it like every day. Mom, I'm down here doing what I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's what she would want for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, yeah, like you said, this couple weeks right now is tough, but I'm handling it with grace due to God, my higher power.
Yeah, and it just goes to show we don't say that every day is going to be great, but we do say it's going to be better days than what we had when we were drinking or using. Is that a true statement?
Oh, yes. I mean, we used to not deal with life.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like you said, Lorene, and you've been sober just a little longer than me. That's why we use. Mm-hmm. You know, I've always used my entire life, every addiction that there's ever been, food, exercise, because we don't want to deal with reality. Yeah. And so I am probably emotional because I am dealing with this next week with grace. Yeah. And before I would have never done that. And so I am emotional because I'm proud of myself that I am handling it with grace and that my parents are proud of me. So yeah, I think that's my burning bush experience, is just handling life on life's terms without a drink in my hand. Yeah.
So you attend quite a number of meetings with me. Why is it that you keep going back to the 12-step room?
Well, the love in the rooms, seeing the people that have your back. Of course, and I do it all the time. We talk about it when someone's telling a story or a feeling, and I'm like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, God dang, I did all this. Yes. You know? And I'll be shaking my head the whole meeting. And I'm like, they probably think I'm crazy. and so to be in a room with people that get you and that love you. And I like the women's group a lot, just because it's a little more intimate. And it's just like family. It's people that get you. And I always do like 1 or 2 meetings. If I don't see this lady, it's a tough week.
Thank you.
So that's why I keep going back, to get the love and compassion and understanding. Because you, like somebody said the other day, if I tell a sober person something I did, they'll be like, she's crazy.
Something wrong with her.
Yeah. You know, like going to the hood to get our dope and, you know, flipping some cars and things like that, you know. Real people will be like, she's got problems. And in the rooms,
we're laughing about that.
We laugh because we all have done it. So definitely that's why.
Makes it a lot easier. And for me, the reason I keep going back is to be reminded that I have a disease, and also to repetition. I need to hear it over and over again that I have this disease that tells me that I don't have it. I say that a lot as well. And when I share something that's going on with me, it gets it from up here. Is that your experience?
Yes, and I love what you say, Lorene, and I say it in the back of my head because I listen to, you know, the women I admire. Excuse me, somebody's talking bad about me. Lorene always says, I better do this because my disease is doing push-ups in the parking lot. And it's true, because we can think we got it.
Oh my God.
And you don't, like I said, I don't say I'm going to be sober forever. I mean, it's the 6 months. I just couldn't believe it went so fast.
Yes.
And, but yeah, we have a disease. It never leaves our head. And that's one thing, by working your steps in your program, it does help a little bit with the crazy in your head.
It helps me a big bit.
We all have that crazy
up there. Wow.
I know.
It's like, shut up.
Yes, and like I mean, I just sometimes like some people be like, why didn't you share? And sometimes I think, well, maybe it wasn't going to make sense, or maybe I need to listen. And somebody very brilliant told me when you first come in the rooms, shut your mouth and open your ears. and and sometimes the people have been there like one day, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I thought about what I was taught, and of
Yeah.
course we want everybody to say what's on their mind,
Yes.
but that's how I learned.
Uh-huh.
And even my sponsor recently, why didn't you talk that day?
Uh-huh.
Maybe it didn't make sense. I didn't want to come out and sound crazy.
Uh-huh. We all crazy in there.
Yeah. But yeah, that's really important, is to be with people that really understand you. And that's what this
Yes.
program has brought
Mhm.
me and back into amazing people in my life. I get to do
Mhm.
amazing things. Like I
Yeah.
said, being a foster mom,
Yes.
service work,
Uh-huh.
helping others.
What's your service work look like?
Well, when people, there was a lady when I first got in the room, she had surgery, and I helped her with her animals.
Okay.
Right now,
Awesome.
the foster work,
Uh-huh.
just
I love
helping
that.
people. Yeah, just helping and giving back. Is I do a lot of
Yes.
things for the homeless.
Uh-huh.
That's one of
I
my
love
biggest
that.
my biggest things. But I have a 14-year-old cat, and when I've always loved animals,
Uh-huh.
and so that's how I wanted to give back. It went okay.
Uh-huh.
But it was so rewarding, because you know what I told myself when I was chasing this kitten around 6 months ago? I couldn't have done that.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I said,
Yeah.
6 months ago, I could barely feed
Mhm.
my cat and
Uh-huh.
take a shower.
Yes.
And so to give back in this manner,
Uh-huh.
the first foster cat went to a great loving home. And I did that.
Uh-huh.
I did
love
it.
that.
And actually, I just requested to foster a cat that had a broken leg, a broken pelvis, and hopefully I'm going to get to foster her.
Awesome.
I just want to give back however I can. Down the road, it'll be sponsoring
Uh-huh.
and sharing. I'd love to doing all those things.
Awesome.
I do get to go to sober living when they do meetings. So it's just, the rewards are so great.
Yes. And then when I'm thinking of others, I know it's so cheesy. I'm not thinking about me, because I am all I think about if I'm not helping someone else out. Does that ring true with you?
I feel like, though, if I share in a meeting, so I do blessing bags for homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
And if I work from home, so I don't give out as many as I want. But when I do go out and I give one out, someone says thank you and bless you. Yes. I don't say, oh, good job, Lisa. It makes me feel great, because I did it for somebody else. Yes. And made their day.
And you're not expecting anything from it.
No, not at all, except to see a smile on their face. And with the weather, I always have blankets in my car, and I say, oh, thank you. I said, could you use one? Yeah. And sometimes, like I said, when I'm sharing, I'm like, oh, I'm bragging on myself. Yeah. But it's not that. It's like what you said. When I'm helping others, I don't think about me.
I'm thinking less of myself. Yeah. And that's the beauty part of the 12-step program, I think. It's one of them. So most of the people that are your current friends now are people that are in the 12-step room. Is that a true statement?
Most of them, yes. Okay. I choose to surround myself with healthy people now. Okay.
Did you have to get rid of all your other people that you were friends with when you came 6 months ago?
There wasn't a lot of people left.
Okay.
There wasn't a lot of people left.
They had left due to your drinking? Is that what you're saying?
Well, when you lose your entire family and you're going through all that, people stop coming around. They don't know what to say to you. Okay. And I got really into self, and I didn't care. Okay. I didn't care. And I kind of pushed people away. It wasn't because my drinking was my private thing.
Yes. And you didn't want people to know how much.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. I was not a social drinker.
So you isolated.
Isolated. Yes. And so I do have some other friends, some that take me to church. Okay. Some that are, just normies. Yes. which is weird, Yes. It's one extreme or the other. Normies or other alcoholics. So yeah, when I do my blessings every day, I thank God for the people that have come into my life. Just the support and the love and things like that. So yeah,
I want to let the viewers know the day that you called me and you said, you know what, I need help, I want you to explain to them the ex- extent of what actually happened that day, where I called Terry and Terry came over. I want them to know what happened, how the help was given to you that day.
Yes, I called Lorene. And she called a previous friend of mine who was one of my sober sisters. And she came and rescued me. And I was in very bad shape. Um,
And she and I were on the phone with you that day.
Yeah, they wouldn't leave me alone. And I didn't mean it like they wouldn't let me alone like that. They wouldn't let me be alone.
Uh-huh.
And they took me to another alcoholic's house where Terry happens to work. So I was surrounded by, 30-something years of sobriety and love.
Yes, all day.
Yeah, all day.
That entire day.
Nobody would leave me alone.
You were not alone.
And then that night, I'm never far from my cat, and I don't like to leave her alone. But no, I had a seizure years ago. So quitting cold turkey is scary and hard. And then they went to my house and took me to Terry's house. And the next day, she didn't want to really leave me alone. She said, you can order alcohol. And I said, you can? I said, I never did that. I said, because I didn't want to show my ID that drunk at the door.
I wouldn't occur.
Yeah, I know, right? And so I had told my boss the day before what was going on. And she says, take how much time you need. And I came home and I was very, very weak. For 5 days, I hadn't eaten. I hadn't showered. I was very weak. And I called my boss and said I was home, and she has been a huge supporter to me, huge. Awesome. I couldn't have got here without her. And she said, take it slow, do what you need to do. And I kind of threw myself right back into work. I actually worked 6 or 8 hours that day. I have a very rewarding job. I get to help people in a certain way at my job. Yeah. Awesome. And so that's what I love as well. And so 3 days later, I went to my first women's meeting. I kind of wanted to get myself together. Everybody has to do it when they're ready. But yeah, I'll never forget that day. I'm forever grateful to y'all and the people that loved me and lifted me up, and just so grateful for everything that I have today. It's not perfect. It's a hell of a lot better than it was 6 months ago.
Yes. So. Yes. Well, what step are you on right now?
I'm on step 6.
Okay.
And about removing my character defects.
Okay.
And my sponsor told me how to pray about it for a week. So,
which one of your character defects sticks out more than the others?
Self-will and selfish.
Okay. Selfish?
Yeah.
I don't see that.
Yeah, I didn't know what selfish meant until I really did the step this time.
Okay.
And realized I was selfish because I just did everything to make me feel better.
Okay. Because I know, being a previous sponsor of yours, you're always giving. So what you're saying is that's a character defects because you're only doing it to make yourself feel good.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think I realized that.
Okay.
And I've always been that way, giving back. Giving back.
Yeah.
But when I've been looking at my step 6, I think that everything I did was to make me feel better. Drugs, alcohol, whatever it was. So selfish and self-seeking. And so now I pray every night. And when I do say my prayers, I say, please, God, help me remove my character defects. I don't want to be perfect because that would be unreasonable.
Well, you ain't going to be anyway.
I know. But when I say
none of us.
Yeah. Because I can't have all my character defects taken away. But yeah, I didn't really understand the self-seeking part until I really worked the step that everything I did my entire life was to make myself feel better, and not just doing things for other people. It was just covering up all the emotions. And that's how I see self-seeking. And so, I'm working on that. And I'm just taking my time doing the steps this time. And so, I'm looking forward.
So I'm
about to be on 7.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I feel like they all kind of tie in, like 5, 6, and 7.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and I don't remember that from the last time. I don't.
Yeah, 6 and 7.
Yeah,
kind of go hand.
Yeah, so I'm doing a lot of that. I've been trying. I don't like to journal that much because I feel like this is other people. Some people love journaling, but I already hear all that in my head. I don't want to see it on paper.
So you don't feel that writing it on paper is getting it out of from up here?
Not really.
Okay.
For me,
everybody, I mean, that's it's your journey. So yeah.
I mean, a couple of the women that have a lot of time recommended it. I also have ADD, so like it's very hard for me to focus. I mean, I work hard and I do everything I'm supposed to. But if I start writing everything down, I think I would maybe beat myself up more. You know, to me, doing journaling reminds me of being younger and writing in a diary, and no one wants to read that crap, you know? And so I know it in my head. So yeah, I just do a lot of praying on my steps.
Okay.
And that's helping me this time.
Okay. So so far you've gone the previous steps, which one so far is your favorite?
Number one.
Step
1.
Well, we do step 1 before we make it into the rooms anyway.
Yeah.
It beats us down so much. And
and
so
I think that step 1 is a big deal because I knew I had a problem. You know, I knew I had a problem.
Right.
It was out of control. But to me, admitting to myself and asking for help went hand in hand.
Okay.
So that's why I think step 1 was huge for me. Is I'm powerless over alcohol and powerless over all the outside sources that make me feel better. And so I think asking for help and being powerless went hand in hand for me.
Okay. So you didn't find it to be an issue with singing that there is something that I can't handle on my own. It's my body. I should have enough willpower. Why can't I control this? You didn't have an issue. That wasn't your thinking?
No.
See, that was mine. It's like, it's my body. Why can't I control this thing? So I think me having that frame of mind probably took me a little longer to actually comprehend what step 1 actually meant. That makes sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, but I've been doing it my whole life, you know, and like you said, controlling it when I was these last 4 years, I understand where you're coming from on the control part and stuff. I think more on what you're saying on that token for me was like, why is this so messy? Like, why does it have to be like this? I mean, I've said before in the rooms when I watch TV now, and after work they have a glass of wine and they're all happy and cheery. I'm like, how do they do that? And why do they do that? Like, 1 glass of wine, that's nothing. Like, what's even the point? Like, right?
Yes.
I mean, it was the bottle and nothing else, you know? And so I think that part of it, us being different from others, it blows my mind. You know, I'm well aware I grew up with the disease and I saw it firsthand. But it like what you're saying, first to realize it, to a certain extent, because I guess from what you're saying is when I'm watching them on TV, I'm like, why can't I just do that? Why me? Yeah. In other words. Yeah. Like, why can't I be like everyone else? And they just, you know, and, you know, that's a big part of working the steps is you get all the answers to those questions. And once again, like I said, it's just so rewarding for me this time. I just feel like I want to suck in all this information like a sponge and I'm absorbing it a lot different this time, maybe because it is different this time. So,
do you think if it wasn't for the 12-step room or the program that you had experienced in the past and knew that where to come back, that if you didn't have that experience, you would have been able to get sober again?
No. And that's what I was talking to a friend yesterday about, that I don't come in the rooms, like I said, when there's a new person in there, because I feel for them. I feel for them.
Okay.
You know, and I just
How so?
there was somebody the other day that said he had a seizure and he was in the hospital, and he was grateful to be alive, and then I never saw him again. And this is what I was talking about yesterday.
Okay.
I don't come into the rooms and think I know everything. It's a lot softer when you've been there before.
Yes.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's not all foreign to me. I think with new people, it's foreign.
Yes.
And so that's what, that's how I see this time. And I said that yesterday to somebody, that it's not easy. It's never easy to be sober.
Yes.
It's softer because I was there before. And the conversation I had yesterday was, I don't understand when I don't see people again, that I feel so much for that day.
Yes.
Or the people you say, go sit with them. That hurts.
Yeah.
And we can't make
it hurts
everybody.
when we don't see them.
Yeah.
Or when one of us fall off. I get used to seeing people in the rooms, and it's like, what happened to that person? It does hurt.
But there's miracles like me.
There are.
You can come back.
There are.
Yeah, and it does help. I was there before. Scary, but it does help.
Thank you for filling in for me. And today you also was being of service, because I had a cancellation and I called Lisa and I was like, oh my God, can you help me? And she says, let me call you back in 20 minutes. And y'all, she calls me back, and thank you so much. I wouldn't have been able to do an interview today. And you saved me, girl.
Well, you saved me, so I guess we're even.
I love you.
Thank you.
Well, guys, I hope you have enjoyed Lisa's story. And once again, we are so appreciative of you guys supporting Silver Lining Nation. And if nobody tells you that they love you today, heard from us here at Silver Lining Nation, we love you. Take care, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Silver Lining Nation. And today I have a really special guest. I have an ex-sponsee of mine, and her name is Lisa. And I worked with Lisa for about 3.5 years before she had a relapse. And today, guys, she actually has 6 months. So I'm super proud of Lisa. So today she's going to be on Silver Lining, sharing how she struggled getting back into the 12-step room. Also, I want to follow Lisa progress as she goes through her sobriety, so that you guys can see the improvement in the progress as she goes through working the steps, and as she goes through living a sober life, y'all. So I hope you guys enjoy Lisa's story, and I'm going to turn it over to Lisa, guys. So here's Lisa.